So if you guys have been following the news and some media outlets, we all know that there's going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out officially. This movie has been through production hell for years. It's never officially gotten off the ground until now. They have a cast, they know what they want to do, and there's some things to talk about with this movie that I think is particularly very interesting. Number one, let's talk about timeline placement, because when you look at some of these signs that they have for Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, not only do they change up the design of Freddy Fazbear ever so slightly by giving him white gloves, but it kind of gives like an 80s retro vibe to the character and the environment that this may potentially present. And plus, on top of that, if that is the case, this may potentially lead into not necessarily the bite of 87, the bite of 83, where it's the crying child. This may potentially also be the bite of 87. Who knows the timeline placement in this movie and what this necessarily means. Maybe I'm digging too deep into it and reading too much into the lore, but there's some potential possibilities. If it does take place in the 80s, it's got to be one of those two events, either 83 or 87.
Intriguing.
But the casting for this movie has some superstars in this movie. First of all, they have Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, the movie.
I'm Bob.
And that actually got me super intrigued, because not only that, Matthew Lillard is also playing as William Afton, the creator of these animatronics, which that's going to be a very interesting persona, because William Afton is a psychopath. He loves killing children. So I wonder if that's going to be a major part in this movie. Josh Hutcherson is Mike Schmidt, who, if you guys do not know, is the security guard in the first Five Nights at Freddy's. Or it's the second one. I can't remember which one it was, but he was a security guard in one of those. And if that's the case, it makes me wonder, is this really truly going to take place in the 80s? And if it does take place in the 80s, since they have Mike Schmidt, it may end up being the bite of 87 in this movie. There was also casting for a female villain in the movie as well, which, when I think female villain, I also think to myself, Vanny. Vanny is the latest villain that I've seen in Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it was, what was the name of it? I'll pop up the name of it, but you guys, if you guys played this game, then you guys already know there's an animatronic, well, a lady who dressed up like an animatronic named Vanny, who is an evil bunny looking character, and I wonder if they're going to have a part for her to play in this movie as well. Maybe she sabotages some stuff, who knows. But hopefully this FNAF movie is not too complicated, but it does look like they're staying very lore accurate in certain aspects and kind of shifting some things around to make a more elongated story, because doing a 12 to 5 shift, or what was it, 12 to 6 shift in these games or in this movie could potentially get boring very quickly. Just having a repeat of him surviving, going back, him surviving, going back, him surviving, going back. Like, that can get boring after a while. So you gotta expand the story a bit more, and it looks like they're doing just that and bringing them some heavy-hitting actors in this movie. And the production looks like it's gonna be legit, like a legit production. We're not getting a Willy's Wonderland, even though I personally enjoyed Willy's Wonderland, and that was the closest thing that we got to a FNAF movie. Now we're finally getting a legit FNAF movie, and we're gonna see how it's done. Hopefully we're gonna see how it's done. FNAF's become so mainstream too at the same time that this also presents a potential problem. It's not really scary anymore. It used to be scary, it used to be the hype all the time, but now it's become so mainstream. We have plushies, we have kids playing all these games and stuff like that, that it's just not scary anymore. And is it going to be the same case in this movie where it's just not scary anymore? Or are they going to bring some newer elements in there to make the creatures and animatronics much more scary again? Will the story be solid enough to warrant a change for video game movies going forward as well? The Mario movie looks like it could potentially go in that direction of having a great video game movie, but this is another case, like PC games. Let's see how they do. What are your guys' thoughts on the new FNAF movie? What are some potential things and ideas that you guys have for this movie? What do you think the directions of the story are going to go in? And also, do you guys think this is going to be a good movie? And do you guys like the casting? Because I think the casting is very solid, personally. Comment below, let me know. Drop me one of these. And also, if you guys like the video, make sure to subscribe today to join the Izolization.
I'm buff.